Hello and welcome to Let's See It,
the podcast that explores how you can use improv skills in your day-to-day life.
I'm Rebecca Tanwin, award-winning voice artist, actor and improviser.
And I'm Kiva Murphy, award-winning actress, teacher and co-owner of Barcelona Improv Group.
So, let's see it! In this episode, we'll be talking about the art of making mistakes.
I have another yawn. No, disaster. Now I've given you one.
Oh yeah, contagious. Oh, I'm not feeling that one. Are you faking that one or is that turned into a real one?
It turned into a real one. I faked it into a real one.
Such skill. Wink. We have to say it in the podcast. Wink.
Mistake. We've already started so well.
I already feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. It's a really sticky feeling.
I mean, what do you notice about yourself when you make a mistake? And I'm doing like quotation marks because...
Air quotation. You want to say that too. We say
quotation.
Quotation. I think it depends massively on the context. So if I make a mistake on stage, great. It's probably going to be a gift. We say it all the time in improv that the mistakes are total gift and they're your friend and you can exploit them and explore them and enjoy them and fail fantastically and all of that. But then when you make a mistake in real life, it really depends. Sometimes it can be very embarrassing and I'll go bright red if it's like with some new friends or something and I just like totally fuck it up. But then what's a mistake? Like what if you fall over on the street and you trip and you fall over?
But that's not a mistake. That's an accident.
Oh, what's the difference?
Oh, that's a very good point. I feel mistakes feel like...
a decision you made that went wrong?
Maybe, like having more agency over it, I guess.
So like telling an inappropriate story.
Yeah, and then being like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
And you're halfway through the story, you're like, oh dear.
Yeah, back out.
Beep, beep.
Exactly.
Get me out of this story.
Exactly. Whereas if I trip and fall on the street, it is embarrassing maybe, but it's not a mistake in my mind. It's more like an accident.
Yeah, so they're separated.
Yeah. But I notice that when I make a mistake, and this is what I notice in improv class, I just get quite tense. Because improv is a newer skill to me.
Of course.
And yeah, as soon as I'm like, oh God, I said something weird or it's gone wrong, my body kind of goes a bit like, huh? Like I feel a tension in my body. I might do panic eyes.
I have seen those eyes on your face before.
Yeah. Panic eyes. This is mainly in improv, weirdly. If I'm in doing something else I'm more experienced with, like for example, if there's a mistake happens on stage, I'm much more relaxed with how to handle it. However, I do notice that there still is that adrenaline spike. There still is that like adrenaline thing of making a mistake in front of people when you're performing something. But it just kind of heightens everything. So I kind of enjoy the mistakes on stage.
It's a bit of a rush, like a bit of a...
And it makes everyone just tune in, just sharpen up. Because sometimes those things can happen when you're not really paying attention. And if a mistake happens, you can be like, okay. Come back to here, to this moment, to the person you're doing the scene with. Because maybe for a second you were somewhere else. So it's almost like a reminder to come back.
To be there, to be present. I mean, I remember the play that we did together last year where we had stuff that broke on stage, like stuff that was out of our control, or we had an actor who got sick, fell ill at the very start of the show. So that's not a mistake. It's a problem, but it makes us all rally. And it's like, okay, well, this is the here and now. It's a one-act play. Get it together.
Yeah. But I do also love but the thing about the gifts, you said the gifts on stage. And it does happen in non-improv performance as well, those mistakes. It's going to. You're human. Mistakes happen.
Yeah.
And one of my favourite things to chat to actors about, and this might be a very actory thing, is when it goes wrong. Like the really bad times that it went wrong or something weird happened.
Fucked up completely.
Or you fell off the stage or like you missed a whole chunk. Like I remember once I was doing a monologue in a play, chatting away, chatting. And I realised in my mind, my actor mind went, oh, you've blanked. My mouth's still moving. Like I'm still carrying on with the monologue, but I'm like, I have no idea what's coming up next. I don't know what my next thought is. I've gone. So I just thought, skip to the end. Can't be that much important stuff in there, right? So I got to the end, and then the other actress turned around to me and went, did you say you're leaving Daddy? In my mind, I went, no, I didn't. But in my voice went, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you. And in my actor mind also went, thank you so much for saving me. Because I hadn't. Just chucked out a whole big chunk of text.
Yeah, the whole revelation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it depends. Like the mistake that you make, you know, you're trying to make a good first impression, for example, and you wear the wrong outfit, you say the wrong thing, you go to the wrong place. You know, the kind of social mistakes of like, you turn up at a party and you're like, oh, we were all supposed to bring wine and I didn't bring wine. Those kind of things. Is that a mistake? Is it an accident? Is it just rudeness? I'm very good at bringing things. I will always bring a bottle of wine or something.
Kiva's a good gift giver.
So are you. So are you. You're very generous.
Lots of gifts.
Yeah.
Now, I think when you talk about social mistakes, we're talking about social norms and social kind of how people are expected to behave. And mistakes also kind of quirks in personality sometimes.
And cultural difference.
And culture and all that kind of stuff. It just makes you kind of who you are. Like today I was watching a meeting with my colleague who runs the ADHD kind of awareness part of our company. And they're trying to move away from the D in ADHD because it's a defect. And it's not a defect. It's just someone's brain works differently. And sometimes like making mistakes, we're kind of told we have to do it like this. We have to be like this. We have to say this thing and go here and wear this. Otherwise, if you embarrass yourself or make a mistake, everyone's going to laugh at you and you're going to be shunned from the tribe. And I think that's something deep in humans to want to kind of not stand out sometimes.
To be correct, to not get in trouble. But it's because from a kid and from being in school, it was like, here's your maths test, do these 10 questions and a big red X if you got it wrong. And then in the top right corner, like, oh, you got 8 out of 10 or whatever. And it's like, you made too many mistakes and so therefore you get a B or a C or a D or you fail or whatever. So I think we're programmed from being a kid like this is good, this is bad, very young. And if you make a mistake, you get punished or grounded or docked your pocket money or whatever it might be. But it's this thing of like, don't mess up. If you don't toe the line and you step out of it, you'll kind of have repercussions.
Yeah.
Whereas artists are always like, here's the box. I'm going to go outside the box. I want to think outside, do outside, perform outside the box.
But you have to reprogram your brain for that. Little kids are very good at thinking outside the box. They make tons of mistakes, which aren't mistakes. They're just creative play. They're just finding out how the world works. And you're like, why are you using that teapot like that? Or why are you playing with the train like this? And their mind's like, yeah, because it's now a horse with like a powered by steam or like, they go off on like.
No limits.
Yeah. Their divergent thinking is amazing. But the thing is like, as we get older, we get more and more scared, I think, and we get more and more nervous.
And that's what you're talking about, this adrenaline spike and this tension of like, I don't want to be made a fool. I don't want everyone to laugh at me. Whereas in improv, we're like, please make the mistakes. We're literally playing this game and it's set up for you to fail so that you can fail and have the comfort of failing and failing in a group and sharing it. And often we'll play an exercise and we'll do it. I'm like, okay, if you get it wrong, you have to run around the circle. And then we finish the game and I said, what was the most fun bit to do or to watch? And it's like, oh, when they were all running around. Great. Yeah. The game is set up so that you fail and we multiply the failure more and more and we celebrate it. And then it's like, oh, if we allow ourselves to, and that luxury of allowing ourselves to, then hopefully we can kind of use that tension into like a theatrical tension instead of oh shit.
Yeah, and not beating yourself up every time you make a mistake, not having that kind of like that tension, that kind of I
and
made
even
a
the body
mistake.
language you're doing now, you're like super
Tight
tense and looking down and you're like everything scrunches up.
Because what's a mistake? I mean, there are some like...
I mean, literally just now, you just repeated the word what twice. You went, what's a mistake?
Yeah.
If you did that on an improv scene, I would now try and get you to repeat words every time. And I would play the game of like, let's have an ice cream. And now the game would be to repeat words 2 or 3 times. And it will started off as a mistake that you just missed a word.
Is a gift.
And it's a gift.
Yeah, it
and
becomes
now that's
the
your
game.
character. That's the game.
Exactly. And it's this thing of so wanting to be right and to be safe. And I do think that is an instinctive human thing that almost we have to get out of because we don't want to rock the boat. There is a thing, I think a caveman thing inside us that we don't want to sort of put our head over the Parapet. Yeah. I love that word.
Yeah,
Parapet.
I was just thinking that. I was like, oh, good word.
Oh, good, nice word.
Parapet. What about a parakeet on a parapet? A pet parakeet on a parapet?
A purple pet parakeet on a parapet.
All
Peter's
I want is a
purple.
proper...
Peter's purple parapet. See, I did it then. I went, mistake. Peter's purple parakeet on a parapet.
Cute.
Yeah, cute. But yes, it is this sense of not beating yourself up. It's however you define what happened, mistake, happy accident, creative choice, gift, joyous moment. It's not going and like tensing. I'm going like, oh, I did it wrong. Yeah. That kind of thing. It's like, oh, well, that didn't come out how I expected it, or whoops, or like, let's go.
Or just enjoy it and just
like,
embrace it.
Yeah, or laugh or have fun with it or see where it kind of takes you.
Yeah, because when we hold on so tightly to our idea and we have that perfectionist thing of like 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 3. And if you do that in art, whatever the art is, if we hold on that tightly and we don't have any kind of looseness, flexibility about it, 1, we'll make more mistakes, and 2, when we make a mistake, we'll just disintegrate.
Yeah.
Like I say in the public speaking classes all the time, that we have to allow ourselves to kind of hold on loosely to things. Because if you're like, I'm going to say this, and then they get that, but then someone asks a question or the PowerPoint fails, like you said, things go wrong, and then you're like, I've got nothing, and I have that blank thing that you're talking about on stage, and that's a very difficult place to be. Yeah. Whereas instead you're like, oh, I didn't expect that question, or this is, there's a bit of flow and flexibility, and like you can kind of take the punches.
I remember an awful voiceover when I first started doing voiceover. So I was a baby voiceover artist, and there was one word that I just kept saying slightly wrong with a different inflection that the person didn't want. And they were correct. Like I was in British inflection, it doesn't fall like that. I can't even remember what it was now. But anyway, and I just kept on going back again and again and again. And I just started to panic. I just started to like crumble, and it was awful. Like we got through the recording, and I recorded for them again another time, and it was all fine and all this sort of stuff. But it was early doors, and it was just one thing that just kept going again and again. Now, as a more experienced voice artist, there have been moments like that. Moments where you kind of have to go, ooh, this is tough, or I'm really struggling with this particular word today, which does happen. And remaining calm, remaining flexible, going, it's okay. It's going to come out of my mouth. I know how to say this. Let's just take a breath, take a pause, run at it differently, and but also that thing of internally not beating yourself up. Yeah.
But I think what you just said was very clever, is to stop and take a pause. And to just accept it, instead of like, oh, I'm going to talk really quickly to get over it. Or if you're making a presentation or you're on stage, you're like, blah, 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 just like fill it full of fluff so no one noticed the mistake. Instead, stop, shine a light on it. And, obviously the context depends on what's going on. But if, for example, in clown, all I'm doing is like, enjoy the mistake. Like it is a total door opening to the next thing. But it's allowing yourself to do that. And everyone's instinct when they make a mistake is to close their eyes. It's really interesting.
Oh.
We almost don't want to see it. Yeah, if you notice people making a mistake, they'll do a like that tense thing that you were talking about. And they go like, oh, fuck, or shit,
Yeah.
And a lot of people just, for that moment, like just don't want to see it. And I'm like, open your eyes. Because if you are vulnerable and accepting enough of yourself of that mistake, then we love it. We love seeing someone who allows the mistake to be seen.
That's the other side, isn't it?
It's so joyful.
It's as the person on the outside, seeing the vulnerability of someone, seeing them embrace any kind of like variety that comes in and being flexible and vulnerable like that. It's just magic to watch as well. And you feel so
captivating.
Connected. You feel like connected to that person. You can't take your eyes off them. They are, it's this thing we bang on about all the time in arts, particularly in voiceover, authenticity. Showing the mistakes, showing how the voice changes, like how the person accepts any kind of mistakes, any kind of variety within them. And doesn't close off from that, offers that to us. Oof, feels so brave.
It is, and it's so, like you said, it's so captivating. Captivating? That's not a word.
Captivating.
Captivating and enthralling, mixed together.
The perfect combination.
Absolutely.
She's encaptivating everyone.
She's encaptured everybody. It made me think of like bits in movies where someone has improvised, for example. Like I'm walking here, like Al Pacino walking across the street in New York, and a car wasn't supposed to go down the street because they had closed set, and somehow a taxi got through. So he like bangs the car. He's like, oh, I'm walking here. Improvised. Mistake.
I didn't know that was improvised.
Yeah.
Right, it's one of the most famous moments in the movie. I'm walking here.
Yeah, exactly.
Sums up, well, how foreigners see New York, I guess.
Yes, also.
But one thing I was thinking about mistakes, and when this has come up a few times, particularly in my work doing facilitation and doing the virtual co-working, because we often ask people to reflect on how they respond to failure or mistakes, to kind of try and reprogram a bit that, you know, it's up and down. You can't have wins all the time. That would just be crazy. Like you can't just have win, 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 win. It's up and down. It's a roller coaster. It's always like that. You'll have setbacks, you'll have step backs, all of those things. And someone did mention that failure is a privilege. Like if you have the luxury to fail and, you know, it's not going to make you homeless, it's not going to make you like on the breadline, then that is a privilege to have that support network or have that safety net. So I do acknowledge that sometimes when we're talking about mistakes or failing, there is a huge pressure on a lot of people that they feel they can't because of all different sorts of reasons. Yeah. I can't speak for many groups, but I could speak for, as my self-experience as a woman, like there is certain expectations on us on how we're supposed to behave, what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to live our lives. And I recently asked a friend of mine, what's the thing you're most proud of? And then they asked me it back because they're a nice friend. and simplest way to do a conversation, just out there, just to let anyone, well, I'm mainly speaking to, no offence, the straight men. If someone asks you a question, it's easy.
Back.
Ask the same one back.
Also fine.
You don't even have to think about it. You just go, and you?
What about you?
Well, what about you?
Yeah.
Anyway, side note. So they asked, what are you most proud of? And I actually said, not living a... taking the chance to not live a traditional life, I guess. So not having kids and a family and a sort of a 9 to 5, and not saying that any of that is wrong. It just wasn't right for me. And I felt that. But also there was a huge pressure to do the more traditional thing as well. Yeah. And sometimes I do feel like I look around at society, not myself, but all my friends or any of the people I love and support me. But there is still a pressure to be like, wait, you
don't have kids? You're not married? Where's your house?
Where's your husband?
Yeah.
Like, is your husband in? I'm like, no. It's just me. It's just me. But it's that thing of, and I'm really proud of that, having developed a life like that. But I've only been able to do that because I am supported by a lovely support network of friends and family and all that kind of stuff. So
I think anyone who lives any kind of artistic, outside of the box kind of life like both of us do, and a lot of people we know do, is because I could always go home.
Yeah.
I could always go home.
Having
even if you
bed
never
to
used
sleep
it.
in. Yeah, just a sofa that you just know is open to you. I mean, is a huge thing. And there are people out there who don't have that. So then the fear of failure, the fear of mistakes.
It's like if you make a mistake, it's very different context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Whereas
high.
if we do and we don't land a job or we do a bad show or whatever, it's like, it's okay. We'll always have a place to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But mistakes for me, I think also is a little thing that most people can do. And that is that thing, I'll come back again to it, not beating yourself up.
Yeah.
Being kind to yourself.
And accepting that we all do it.
Yeah. Even that freaking perfect person who you're like, they never make any mistakes. They do.
They do.
They make loads of mistakes.
Yeah.
And they're probably more scared to make mistakes than you are.
Yeah.
Because perfect doesn't exist, people.
Oh, God, you got very excited
Oh, no.
there. Oh, my God.
I hate the word.
Perfectionism.
Perfect and perfectionism just really annoy me
riles you
so much.
Yeah.
Because they're just a concept. It doesn't even exist. It's just ridiculous. What does practice make? Improvement.
She had that one ready, guys. She had it
I
ready.
did.
Yeah.
Got it on a freaking t-shirt. Who
Yeah.
wants one?
I think bring it back to like business improv. Sometimes we go and do corporate trainings and we'll have someone in the HR department or the marketing department and they're like, hey, can you come to our offices and teach a corporate training? We want to make sure that people take more risks in our workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like a marketing department or a sales department or whatever it might be. And it's like, yes, we can help them take more risks and take larger leaps and kind of leap first and think later and all this kind of thing. But are you accepting that some of their answers will be the wrong answers? Because it's like, you want me to make them more creative, imaginative, take, bigger leaps. That's only if you accept that they might have 10 ideas and 10 brainstorming sessions and one idea will come out. So I think this idea of like, oh, yeah, we want them to think really, think really big and think creatively. And it's like, okay, but some of the ideas will be shit. And that's part of it. You have to allow the failure and the mistake to get the diamond in there.
Of course.
But they're like, oh no, can you just help them to get great ideas?
Yeah,
like,
great ideas that are exactly aligned to what we want and what we're thinking.
Oh my God, this word aligned.
It's a classic business word.
You don't like the word perfection. I do not like the word aligned.
Aligned to our business portfolio. But that is the thing. It has to go both ways.
Yeah.
If you want people to be creative, if you want people to think outside the box, you have to be willing to accept there's going to be many ideas that do not
work.
fit or don't work. And that's okay, because that's part of the process.
Yeah.
To sort through those and find, like you said, the diamond. So, Kiva, do you have a game that we can play to help us practice the art of making mistakes?
Absolutely. So a lot of improv games have mistakes built into them, or will have mistakes that will happen naturally and organically. And great, we want to embrace those and fail fantastically. Fabulous. But this is a game that is going to force the mistake, and it's going to make you want to get it right. But when you get it wrong, you're doing it correctly, which is a head fuck in itself. Yeah. So it's a game called Bad Rap. It goes with a little song, which is bad rap, bad rap, bad rap. Let's do that. Bad rap. Bad rap, bad rap. Yeah, the more sass you get into it, the better. I want you guys out there also singing bad rap with us. So what will happen is I will set up a rap, a very simple rhyme, a 2-word rhyme, 2-line rhyme, and I'll set it up, and I'm going to know exactly what I want you to end on. I'm going to set up the thing so you have to end on this rhyme, but you're going to end it, but you're going to do a synonym of what I said.
That doesn't rhyme.
That doesn't rhyme.
Okay.
So your goal is to not rhyme. So, for example, if I say, I walked into a room and it had an open door. I looked right down and there was no
ground.
Exactly. So you're doing a synonym for the word floor. So I set you up for floor and you said ground.
Okay.
And then we say bad rap, bad rap, bad rap.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool. And you want to say floor because I've set you up for floor, and you're like having the right brain, left brain, like get it right. I'm supposed to be perfect, and then I'm making you do it wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Do you have one?
Yeah. Go on.
Okay. Great. Bad rap.
Bad rap, bad rap. I'm walking outside and I see the sun. I think this day's gonna be really
great. Bad rap.
Bad rap, bad rap.
I'm feeling sure. I'm feeling certain. I close my windows. I close my
blinds.
Bad rap. Bad rap, bad rap.
Oh, fun! But you're right, it's a proper gear shift. Like my brain's like,
yeah, shift.
Yeah. And also, because you feel that tension of kind of, I want to get it right.
Yeah.
But it's really fun to play that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kiva.
You're welcome. I think this episode is called The Art of Making Mistakes. And I think we can think about it a little bit more in our day-to-day lives, that it is an artistic choice. And that sometimes we don't feel like we can make a mistake, or we're in a place that we can't, or we feel like it would be frowned upon, or, seen badly, or my boss is there, whatever.
Or not safe.
Or not safe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I can't make a mistake right now. I think we can accept that of ourselves. But I think in our, very easy places, our social situations with our friends, and we're doing something and we make like a little boo-boo, a little mistake, I think trying to enjoy it, or even just telling ourselves that we're going to enjoy it, and just go like, oh, click, I noticed that tension, that kind of apnea moment, and I'm just going to try and keep my eyes open and embrace it and accept it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Keep those eyes open.
Yeah. That's the artistry in it.
The art of the mistake. So that's it for this episode of Let's See It. Thank you so much for listening to us make mistakes and enjoying the artistry of that. I've been Rebecca Tanwin, and she's been
Kiva Murphy.
And we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.
I just had a thought actually about this podcast. I was like, what if I just put the whole thing up without any edits, any cuts, all the kind of mistakes
all the
blah, blah, blah stuff in?
Why not?
We could.
Yeah.
Do people want to hear us go blah, 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 blah?
Like right now? Sure.